Good afternoon. Man, how time flies. It's year 3. Wow. But really excited for this season. Appreciate all of you coming out. And as Aaron said, supporting us, covering us. And we are absolutely looking forward to continuing to move this thing forward. So I will take all of your questions and be nice. I'm kidding.
Yeah, year 3, like you said, what's the general feel going into the year? I mean, obviously third year. How are you feeling about the program so far?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good about where we are. I really feel really good about this team. I think that the additions that we've brought into the program have been impactful already, both on the court and probably more, as importantly, in the locker room in terms of team chemistry and camaraderie. So I'm feeling really good about where we are and our prospects moving forward.
To be able to start the season with 12 bodies after the past 2 seasons, what has that been like?
Well, it's funny because I actually get in practice and I'm like, man, I got to try to get her in practice and I got to get her some run. So it's been a little bit of a different circumstance, a different situation, but it's definitely allows us to prepare in the way that we need to prepare going into the season when you've got a full roster. And you don't feel like you have to go in necessarily worried about overuse this early in the season. So that's definitely been a very pleasant experience to have starting the season with 12 bodies.
Coach, you talked a little bit about some of the new players, obviously some transfers, some freshmen. How has that transition been for the incoming freshmen and then obviously some of the transfer students as well?
I think that their transition for all the new players, our two true freshmen, Zakara and Kiyomi, and our two transfers, Janae and JoJo, I think their transition has gone very, very well. And I think a large part of why their transition has gone so well has been because of the reception they've gotten from their teammates. Their teammates have done just a really good job of helping incorporate them into our program, helping them understand what our values are and how we want to operate. And they've done a phenomenal job of bringing in these new folks. And I think it's really helped the transition go smooth.
Sticking on the topic of the new arrivals, you brought in a bunch of new forwards this year. What is it? How important is it to kind of have that forward depth that you haven't really had the last few years, and especially now that Cassandra Brown is no longer with the program?
Well, I think it's great to have depth, period, right? So, but to have specifically that depth at that forward spot, it's going to give us a little bit of flexibility to play different ways, play different styles, play different lineups. Certainly losing KB is and what she brought is something that we have to be able to replace. And I think the new players that we come in and really the varied styles that we can play is going to help cover that.
Coach, when a player like Kiyomi comes in with 5 stars next to her name as a freshman, that is always going to both really excite the fan base as well as I'm sure catch opposing coaches' eyes for their scouting reports. So how is she doing so far in the lead up to her first season? What are you expecting out of her?
I think she's doing phenomenal. I think she's, she definitely has had an impact in our gym. She's helped elevate the competitiveness in our gym. Her speed, her skill, her on-court ability has definitely added a lot to our gym. I'm a little biased, but I think she's one of the best talents in the country. And so I'm excited that I get the chance to coach her. I'm excited that our fans get the chance to watch her play night in and night out. And, I think she's just one of those talents that if you have the benefit and the blessing to play with that type of a player, it just impacts everything that you do from a basketball standpoint. So now she is a freshman. Sometimes she can't find the classroom when on time, right? So she is a freshman. Let's not make that You know, she does not walk on water, but she is really, really talented. And so far, she has really shown how much she loves Rutgers, and how much she loves her teammates, and how much she loves this place, and wants to be a person of impact within our program at Fergus University.
And as a quick follow-up on that topic, what was it like recruiting her, for you and your staff recruiting somebody to that talent level to be able to keep them to stay in New Jersey?
Well, it wasn't very hard at all for me or my staff. Now you have to remember, you know, we have an experienced staff, and you know, we're used to recruiting top shelf talent. So it wasn't so much that it was difficult or easy or anything like that, but it was an important recruit. It was an important recruiting process that we went through, because we are a program that we want to keep the best players in the state here in New Jersey. You know, that's important to us. And so, you know, we did the work necessary to build the relationship, to get her to understand what playing at Rutgers would be like for her, what kind of impact she would have. And just fortunately, they were receptive to it, and they embraced it, and here we are.
Coach, I just want to go back to the offseason, like 30,000-foot view, right? Year 3 in your program, you've seen some strides in the first 2 years. Were there things team-wide that you worked on that you want the team to be better at this year, or whether it's with, you know, across the board or with individual position groups?
Yeah, I think it's been more individual growth as opposed to anything specific team-wide. Now, having said that, I did in the offseason, you said looking at the offseason, I did and I do still want us to continue to push the needle in terms of the type of program that we want to have in our style of play. So, you know, I want us to continue to work and grow in terms of playing at the pace that we want to play at. Offensively, being able to push the envelope and push the needle offensively. We'll always kind of model things and tweak things based on our personnel. But I want us to continue to push the needle on the offensive end and playing at the pace that we want to play at. I don't think in year 1 or year 2 we were ever quite there, but we're getting closer. Defensively, I want us to continue to grow and move the needle in terms of our aggressiveness and our toughness and our tenacity on that end. So those are some high-level things. Now, how you execute that is individual players, you know. So different players will have to impact us on the offensive end. Different players will have to impact us on the defensive end, and what exactly that looks like player for player. You know, their position coaches and myself will dig into the weeds on that. But overall, it's about pushing the needle and continuing to grow and playing the style of basketball and the type of basketball that we as coaches envision.
And then, Coach, obviously, a couple of senior leaders in this team. You look at Destiny Adams, you look at China Cornwell. How important have they been in, again, creating a smooth transition process for the people coming in, but also creating that family atmosphere of this team?
Well, I think you talk about two players who really, really embrace the notion of camaraderie and chemistry and sisterhood and having a bond. For China, for Destiny, those elements of team play are at the top of the chart for them in terms of what they want out of a season, what they want out of their college experience, and what they want out of this year in particular, their last year. You know, they definitely express that time and time again, and then they model it and they lead it. So, you know, I tell you, you walk into practice, you're probably gonna see Destiny hugging somebody. I don't know who, just random people. They run laps to start practice, like to lift. Destiny is running, it's kindergarten. She's running, holding hands with somebody, and they're swinging. So that connection to her teammates is important to her. You're going to see China chest bumping somebody, you know, at the water, you know, get a water break. Yeah, water break. Like, those things are important to them. And so as seniors, going out, they want to make sure that is just as strong as anything else that we do. And you want that love from your teammates, and you want it to start with the people up top, because they've had the experience the longest of why that is so important and how that impacts team success.
Another one of those seniors, Awa Sidibe, missed all of last season with an injury. How have you seen her progress in that recovery, and what can you see from her also in her last year?
Yeah, she's still recovering, and that's going to be a process. So when she's ready and available, we'll let you guys know. But she is still recovering from her injury. But regardless of how Awa is doing physically, Awa she might be the soul of this team. Her connection to every single player on this team. We talk about Awa like Awa has no enemies anywhere, because she is just such a phenomenal human being, and she cares about others. She cares about her teammates so much. So as she continues to recover from her injury, her impact on the team will be felt. Matter of fact, 8 out of 10 times, Destiny is hugging Awa, running around the gym holding hands with Awa. So I think we can count on her to be a leader in that soul space and making sure that this team stays on track with what we want to do.
Coach, we saw Maya come in and do a great job playing in the point last year, and Lisa playing really well when Maya couldn't suit up. Knowing your affinity for point guards and how you like to play fast basketball, especially on offense, what can we expect to see from those two, especially in another year with your system?
Yeah, I think their confidence is at a much higher level than last year, and both of them did a wonderful job in the offseason of growing their game. And adding to their game and adding to what they can bring on the court. And so it's going to be fun having Lisa and Maya and Kiyomi all on the court at the same time at times, them, playing with each other. They definitely help the pace of the team. So I think their experience, Lisa and Maya both, their experience last year of getting a lot of time and being counted on, I think that's only going to help them this year. Start off the season with a lot more confidence and a lot more willingness to take on the heavy load that's going to come their way.
Now, election week, 2 weeks away. Have you as a team discussed the importance of them going out to vote? Is there a game plan for the team?
Absolutely.
In terms of, you have the day off, right, from all that and everything?
Yes, I think we have the day off. They changed that rule that you don't actually have to have the day off if you're in season. So I don't know if we have that day off. But we are prepared. So over the summer, we got everybody on our team registered to vote. We watched the presidential debate together virtually as a staff, as a team. We watched the vice presidential debate virtually as a team, and we've had a number of conversations about just paying attention to the issues. So as we talk to them, like, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care, what your politics are, but you will be informed when you make your voting decision. And that's the only thing. And they will participate in the election. They do not have a choice. They will participate. And again, our thing was just that they had to be informed. They have to be informed about the issues. They have to be informed about the candidates. They have to take part in their civic duty. And I have to say our Scarlet Knights for Life staff, and Coquese Washington in particular, did a tremendous job of making sure that they got the information, that they knew what they had to do. And so it's interesting, after the first presidential debate, the first one, I was like, you gonna watch this? And then, yeah, you gotta watch it. Then after the vice presidential debate, the day before it started, they're texting me, are you ready? What is this gonna be about? So over the course of the summer, their engagement got a lot higher. And that's what we want to do, is to help them understand that these things are important. And it doesn't matter where you come out on issues. It's just that you are active, that you participate, and that you do so with information and knowledge and education, and not just off of what you saw on TikTok. Not that TikTok is bad, because you can get a lot of good information from TikTok. So don't email me about how great TikTok is, but there's that.
Just is it important to have that relationship with the players and knowing you're helping them prepare for things like this in their life?
It's absolutely important to us and to our staff. You know, we don't just look at being here and helping them win basketball games. The vast majority of their life after Rutgers will not be about playing basketball games. The vast majority of their life is going to be about everything outside of that. So we have to get them to see the big picture, that life outside of basketball is important. I mean, and they know that, but, you know, they're also 19, 20, 21, 22, and so we try to give them the long-term vision of, you know, when you're done playing basketball, however long that is, even when you go play professionally, at some point, other things are going to be more important than playing. And so how do you start to develop a mindset and a mentality of being impactful in other areas of your life? And while they're here, we try to get them to balance it so that when they leave, they have the tools to balance the various things in their life that they're going to have to go through.
Coach, back when in the winter when Zakara Perkins signed with the program, you referred to her in a media session as something of a basketball unicorn. You compared her to Antonia Bates in terms of her playing style and her role on the court. What can we expect to see from her as we get into the season?
Well, I tell you one thing, that child has so much energy in the gym. She is unbelievable. You can tell that she is the daughter of a WNBA star. You know, her mom won WNBA championships and played overseas, and you can tell that because her competitiveness is really high. Her understanding of the game is really high. And the way that she connects and encourages and supports her teammates is off the charts. And you can tell that, you know, she saw that, lived that, watched it, you know, from the time she was, you know, 4 or 5 years old. She started to understand how to be successful in this game and all the things that it takes outside of just the skill set. So she does a lot of things. She scores, she rebounds, she defends. You know, she is a unicorn. We can move her all around. She can play multiple positions. And so I'm really excited about her growth and the way she's going to impact the team, because she can just do so many things out there.
Kalia Copper was on staff last year. Even after the season ended and her role was done for the season, what kind of impact did she have on the players, you know, going through the Olympics and breaking out as a WNBA star? And do you see that role being filled again by either Kalia or someone else? Well,
you know, Kalia, man, the thing that I'll say this, that's been so awesome being here at Rutgers is the connection that all the alums have with the program. So, you know, yes, Kalia was on staff, and even though, you know, she opted not to be on staff this year, she still, I mean, she was at the football game last week, you know, right? So she's not very far from our program. Same thing with Benijah Laney, you know, same thing with Mary Klinger, you know. I mean, all of these alums, they have such a strong connection to the program, and they come back all the time, and they impart that wisdom to the current players, and the current players embrace it, and it's inspirational for them to see what, you know, if you do the work, if you you know, are passionate about it, the rewards that come from it are lifelong. You know, they last forever. And so having, you know, Benijah just won the WNBA championship, and she's already talking about when she can come up and get back in the gym. Those relationships are important, and our players really embrace it, and, you know, they love it, and they love that they can have access and touch players who've meant so much to this program and who've gone on to do great things after leaving Rutgers.
Yeah, we've been talking about Kiyomi some. I know maybe some fans have not seen her highlights yet, which very impressive. So how would you explain what fans are in store for when they first see her on the court?
Excitement. I think she is and dynamic. I think those are two words I would use to describe Kiyomi. I think she's a dynamic and an exciting player, and she's fun to watch. So just make sure when you go get your popcorn, you do it at the right time because you don't want to miss some.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.